Greetings, we'll cover a few details about Roger Bacon and his life in a succinct manner. Here is a short rundown of his early years, education, career, persona, notable works, legacy, and demise. Roger Bacon, an English philosopher who lived in the 13th century and went by the academic name Doctor Mirabilis, was also a Franciscan friar who emphasized the study of nature through empiricism. He was revered as a magician in the early modern era and became famous for the tale of his mechanical or necromantic brazen head. Also known as Doctor Mirabilis, famous as philosopher. Education, University of Oxford. Born 1220, Ilchester, United Kingdom. Died 1292, Oxford, United Kingdom. Discoveries, inventions, magnifying glass. Somerset's Ilchester is where Roger Bacon was born. His actual year of birth has long been a source of debate, but historians generally agree on 1213 or 1214 based on his declaration in the 1267 book Opus Tertium. The only thing that is currently known about his family is that they were affluent, but most of them were deported, and their property was annexed by Henry III of England. His early schooling focused on the classics, music, astronomy, geometry, and mathematics. He attended Oxford University for additional study where he became interested in mathematics and natural philosophy. He is thought to have earned his M.A. in 1240, possibly at Oxford or Paris. At Oxford, Roger Bacon achieved mastery. He delivered lectures at the Faculty of Arts, focusing mostly on real and fake Aristotelian treatises. He accepted his next position at the Paris University sometime between 1237 and 1245. Here, he discussed the Aristotelian corpus, a compilation of Aristotle's writings that included the Pseudo-Aristotelian De Vegetabilibus and the De Causis, as well as the sciences of physics and metaphysics. In 1247, he was inspired by the great scholar Robert Grosseteste, and he began investing his time and money in acquiring secret books, training assistants, meeting savants, and constructing instruments. He ardently researched optics, alchemy, astronomy, and linguistics. It is very clear that he joined the Franciscan order in 1256, and Master General Bonaventure enacted a rule banning book publishing by friars without the order's prior consent in 1260. Due to their differing worldviews, Bonaventure and Bacon continued to have strong differences. Bacon disagreed with Bonaventure's views on the conversion of base metals into gold and silver, and that astrology was only useful for forecasting events that were entirely based on heavenly body motion. He got in touch with Cardinal Guy Le Gros de Fawkes, who would later become Pope Clement IV in 1265, to get around the order's ruling. The Pope requested Bacon's philosophical writings and his opinion on the potential of philosophy in theology in a papal mandate. With his Opus Majus, Opus Minus, and De Multiplication Speciarum, Roger Bacon responded. In his writings, he discussed how science and Aristotle's philosophy could be used to create a new educational paradigm that would also be beneficial to the Church. When the Pope died, in 1268, without leaving a formal review or opinion on his efforts, his luck was out. Communia Naturalium, Communia Mathematica, and Compendium Studii Philosophiae were his subsequent works. Between 1277 to 1279, the order placed him under house imprisonment, due to his alchemical ideas and general disrespect for other innovators. He believed that, until people got rid of weak and inappropriate authority, abandoned old conventions, ceased supporting uninformed popular beliefs, and covered up their ignorance by being wise, they would not be able to change education. His work, Epistola de Secretis Operibus Artis et Naturae, et de Nullitate Magii, dismissed magical activities and contained the recipe for the philosopher's stone and perhaps gunpowder. He opposed the Julian calendar and suggested that one day be eliminated every 125 years to correct the problem. He thought that Christians were celebrating Easter on the wrong day, because of errors in the current calendar. One of the earliest European proponents of current scientific procedures, which claim results only after experimentation and not just on the basis of earlier research, is widely acknowledged to be Roger Bacon. He originally suggested a mixture that could be used to make gunpowder, by using pieces of glass spheres as magnifying glasses to show that light reflects from objects rather than being released from them. He is the subject of numerous publications, such as Doctor Mirabilis, The Face in the Frost, Fifth Business, and The Black Rose. Although his works were studied by Bonaventure, John Peckham, and Peter of Limoges, through whom he may have inspired Raymond Lull, Bacon was mostly overlooked by his contemporaries in favor of renowned intellectuals like Albertus Magnus, Bonaventure, and Thomas Aquinas. He was also partially responsible for the medieval universities' inclusion of optics, perspectiva, in their curricula. By the early modern era, the English regarded him as the ideal example of a clever and crafty holder of forbidden knowledge, a magician akin to Faust, who had duped the devil and therefore gained access to heaven. One of these urban tales claimed that he invented a talking brazen head that could respond to any query. The tale first appears in an anonymous 16th century account of Friar Bacon's life called The Famous History of Friar Bacon. In it, Bacon converses with a demon, but tries out his theory that speech is caused by an effusion of vapors, by giving the demon's head the continual fume of the 6 hottest simples. The Honorable History of Friar Bacon and Friar Bungay, one of the most popular Elizabethan comedies, was one of Robert Greene's theatre adaptations of the tale that appeared about 1589. Thomas Browne continued to begrudgingly lament that every ear is filled with the account of Friar Bacon, that made a daring head to say these words, "Time is as late as the 1640s." To be able to surround Britain with a wall of brass that would make it impossible to conquer, Greene's Bacon spent 7 years inventing a brass head that would utter strange and vulgar aphorisms. In contrast to his source material, Greene uses nigromantic charms and the bewitching energies of the devil to control his head, instead of natural forces, i.e., by capturing a hobgoblin or dead ghost. The stage directions state that a lightning flasheth forth, and a hand appears that breaketh down the head with a hammer before Bacon collapses, weary, just as his gadget comes to life and declares, "Time is, time was, and time is past." Browne thought the legend to be a misinterpretation of a line in Peter, the Good circa 1335 Precious Pearl, where the careless alchemist misses the birth of his invention and loses it forever. A necromantic head was attributed to Pope Sylvester II, as early as the 1120s. The tale might also preserve the creation of clockwork armillary spheres by Bacon and his contemporaries. The greatest invention ever made, according to Bacon, is a self-activated working model of the sky. Francis Bacon's reputation was being restored by natural philosophers like Bruno, D. and Bacon as early as the 16th century in an effort to present him as a scientific pioneer who had shunned the petty quarreling of his contemporaries in favor of an attempt at a rational knowledge of nature. Bacon was not acknowledged in his time because he was so far ahead of it. He is a 16th or 17th century philosopher whose lot has been by some chance cast in the 13th century, according to commenters who followed Wool in the 19th century. His statements in the Opus Majus that theories supplied by reason should be confirmed by sensory evidence, assisted by instruments, and supported by trustworthy witnesses, were, and still are, regarded as one of the first important formulations of modern scientific method. According to Oxford legend, Bacon is credited with naming Folly Bridge after himself, since he managed to have himself placed under house imprisonment nearby. It was once known as Friar Bacon's Bridge, however this is probably incorrect. A plaque honoring Bacon has been attached to the wall of the brand new Westgate Shopping Centre in Oxford. In 1292, Roger Bacon passed away. Around 72 or 73 years old, near Oxford, England's Oxfordshire.